Hello. So this video is kind of a continuation of the earlier video that we made on the essay part, the introduction of essay part. And till the essay part is one thing is I need to clarify one thing is these are the kind of foundational videos we would have a one-to-one discussion on an individual basis with each person who is practicing essay writing with me. So that is a separate part. So the thing is that if we are done, if we have created our introduction part, then how can we proceed toward an body part and of an essay? Okay. So one more thing that I want to clarify that when we are thinking about the essay, the introduction, body, and conclusion part, we first draw up all the structure at the back end of the essay, that the essay copy that we get. Okay, and we try to draw the whole structure that I would have an introduction, that would have an body parts and different dimensions that we will be mentioning in the body, and thereafter conclusion. And the conclusion and the body part, conclusion and the introduction part are usually integrated, and we try to ensure that essay comes to the full circle. So that part we ensured in the rough box that we do at the end of a copy. So that we will also discuss at the one-to-one basis, and also at the end of these videos I will try to cover up that how the body and conclusion part are going to interact with them with each other. So that we will discuss that as well. Okay. So the thing is here that we are going to discuss body part of an essay. So when we are done with the introduction part, and we have introduced that this is the theme of the essay that we are going to discuss or write about it, then we are going to enter into a body part. So first, but the first thing is that I kind of call a transition paragraph, where we kind of tells examiner that I'm going to discuss these kind of dimensions that I will try to cover in my essay. And how can we do that? First thing that we can do is is that we try to when we are doing the rough work at the back end of the essay, we do certain kind of rough works, like what kind of dimensions can come in. So the questions part, that what with any topic will happen, why this happen, what will happen when this does not happen, how can we ensure that the right things can happen, why the unexpected part or the unethical irrational things happen. All these questions will are kind of the broader themes of our essay. And we have to be cautious that not all the parts need to be covered in the essay. We have to choose the important dimension that should be part of the essay. That is the what, why, where, how these things need to be covered. And these things also need to be arranged in a sequential manner. We can't write these things, arrange these things in a haphazard way. You have to plan the back end that which dimension, which question will be introduced, and which we will be elaborated first, and which dimension will come later. Okay. Second thing, that there's a thesis and antithesis part of an essay. Thesis and antithesis is basically the argument which you are going to present in the favor of an essay topic, an argument which you are going to which you are going to present in the opposition of an essay. So, which dimension would be getting a more weight is depend on the theme of the essay, the topic of an essay, because there could be an negative line or negative topic, so that we cannot be supportive of that idea. There could be positive aspects, so we can't be unnecessarily opposing that idea. So both these aspects are important, and we need to be cautious that which part should be getting the more weightage. And weightage aspect is like we are having there on the 1.5 page for an introduction part, and we are going to conclude around 2 pages for the conclusion part. So we are already done with the 3.5 pages. So we get around seven. So the left out pages will be around, I think, the 6.5 pages or 7.5 pages. So these pages need to be contributed, need to be covered with the body part of an essay. So these dimensions need to be kept in mind, that how much portion we are going to look into. Of course, what happens during the exam, if we are not cautious about these allocation parts, then we unnecessarily end up we basically we end up in a situation that we have around 1 page or left, and we are going to just abruptly ending our conclusion. And many times you must have seen those who have attempted that. given the mock step many times, the examiner write that you have abruptly ended your conclusion, because this happens because we are not cautious about the space allocation aspects in the essay. Okay. So basically, I told you till now that we will be writing a transition paragraph which will introduce these all dimensions I'm going to cover. Okay, then like if I have my first dimension is why these things happen, or what is this thing, why this thing happen. So why this thing happened, why in this dimension, the first dimension of our body part is why certain things happen, and why itself will have multiple perspectives. Okay, like they can be political perspective, economical, geographical, like these kind of UPSC essay topic that we have. Other dimension could be there could be individual perspective, this could be family, society, national, international level perspective. So third could be stakeholder perspective, like there could be a different stakeholders involved in that. So that could also be a perspective. There could be a timeline basis of a thing, like how the things were happening in past, how the things are happening present, and how they might end up in the future. So all these dimensions need to be kept in mind, and we need to be cautious that which things will do more kind of a justice to our paragraph and theme that we have chosen. Okay, and we need to be diverse in the essay, not always try to stick that. I will always mention whatever dimension I have to explore. I will always explore with the perspective of political, economical. No, this approach does not, I think, suits well. Always try to be cautious that maybe the stakeholder dimension or maybe the timeline thing maybe will do more justice to this perspective. So these things, if we have to keep in mind, then I think the diversity of the thing and the essay will not look kind of a monotonous approach that we are going to follow. So that thing also be need to be kept in mind. Okay. So next, like we have given the first thing, first thing that we analyze now as the Y dimension and how and why all these things. Okay, so maybe all these things will be the thesis part of the essay, like we are supportive of the ideas of essay. Then maybe we are going to fill around 4 pages of the thesis part or 5 pages of thesis part in the body portion of the five pages that was located in the body. Overall, we have around 7.5 pages that I talked about. So rest of the part we're going to introduce with the antithesis part, and what could the other perspective of the same essay, and this is also a possibility. See, so antithesis is not always like a starkly opposite perspective of that thing. Antithesis could be a point that there are other dimensions to this essay, that that there are other possibilities as well that could happen. That is also antithesis perspective as well. Okay, and now the things comes that uh, how we are going to arrange that within the dimensioning, within the diversification part and different perspectives that we provide within with certain subheadings. So that aspect as well, we need to be cautious that these aspects need to arrange in the priority basis. Like if the essays is kind of a political or having a societal inclination, that try to allocate those dimensions first instead of just starting with the some science and tech dimension that does not do kind of will not adhere to the expectation of the adhere well and expectation to the exam. So that aspect need to be kept in mind. Okay, and always when we do the rough work at the back end of our answer copy, always whenever you are defining certain dimension, that is the political dimension. So that for substantiating that dimension, there should be certain good examples. And the examples, the difference that makes our GS answer and essay answer different is because on here the purpose of example is to not just a factual kind of thing that this governor has done this for a quality answer to do that. So here we have to present in the language, our way of presentation should be so that we are kind of establishing an emotional connect and what is actually happening. And that presentation of the example, way of writing in the language of that example should be on the lines of the essay that we have. So always there's a one common mm, uh, common theme, the common challenge that aspirant faces that when they usually give the message, they examiners say you usually divert from the essay. So I think that one better way to ensure that always keep the keywords of the essay in your mind and write down and keep on utilizing these words regularly in your essay. This kind of ensures that you are on the line of essay and fulfilling the demand and expectation that essay has wanted to be, not unnecessarily unnecessarily introducing different dimensions which does not have. But even if you are introducing dimension, you start using the keywords that the essay has. Like this must be some keyword like the ambiguous smile as they once came to the ambiguity and smiling. These things should keep coming in your essay when you are writing different paragraphs. So that ensures that you haven't diverted, you are still on the path. Okay, so that you should keep in mind. Okay, apart from that, I think we have done a perspective parenthesis part. Okay. And one more thing that we should keep in mind that when we are writing a body part, it also applies in other parts as well, intro and body, intro and conclusion, because that whenever we are writing paragraphs, try to write a short paragraph. Don't just do two paragraph in a one page. Does not look good. Always try to have in three paragraphs or of three and a half, because these kind of look better. And secondly, it does not because if you like to start writing long paragraph, it adds to the complexity or to understand it as. And secondly, write the shorter sentences, instead of opting for a longer sentence like a Hindu kind of a language, the Hindu newspaper that we read the commas, and don't do this. It is not needed. Don't make it complex. They like complex, and because nobody will be paying attention if it will be difficult to understand or decipher. So ensure that you stick to the simplicity. You don't unnecessarily use unnecessary jargon words and all these things. These are not needed. Be simplistic, be presentable, but try to be don't try to be unnecessarily using the jargon words or hi-fi English. It is not needed. Flowery English words, lovely English sentence is not needed. Because the purpose is, are you having the diversity of ideas? Are you having the depth in your argument? These are the things which matter most, I believe, as compared to other parts. Okay. And one more thing that I was trying to cover that when we do write the paragraph and where we try to transition from one paragraph to another. So always ensure that there is a transition proper, that you are guiding the exam. There should not be abrupt jump from one paragraph and one topic to another. So always like keep in mind that like holding the hand of a small child and just taking him for a walk, taking him or her for a walk. Because think what happens that if you do the abrupt jump, the essays, whenever an examiner checks that copy, they lose the interest. What suddenly happened? So always like if you're transitioning from the political dimension to the historical dimension. So at the when we are done with the political dimension, the last line of the political dimension paragraph should be the let's move to a historical perspective as well. Then start the historical. All the historical perspective paragraph should start having considered the political dimension. Let's now look at there could be a there can be historical dimension as well. So that aspect need to be kept in mind. Okay, I think that will be easy to understand and it will be easy to understand. I think it kind of ensure the connectivity and flow in your essay. So that is also an important thing, I think. So I believe I have covered a lot of things, and these are basically introduction. These purpose of these videos are to create a foundational thing. Then we'll start interacting and having the further conversation. I think it is kind of help. I'm trying it out, and if you have any comments and all these things, please do message me, and I will try to cover up those dimensions as well. Okay. So I think it may help. So let's see what how this pan out. But I'm hopeful. Let's see what happens. Okay. Okay. Let's bye and waiting for your comments and response. Okay. Bye.